Hello, everybody. Welcome to Justice Served Daily. I appreciate you being here tonight. I know it's been a while. I will be doing, I will share with you what's been going on with me and what's been happening. I know I've had a lot of people inquiring about that, so I will give you the update, but I want to go through this show because it's very important to me, and I want to make sure that I share everything I have found so far and some interesting details. So I appreciate all of you. I see you out there. Um, I'll try to watch the questions and stuff as I do. I know Jinx is out there. Mama Bear should be joining us later on. Hello, Cryptex and Louise Cuevas, and I'm glad you're here tonight. So let me go ahead and get into this for I can show you all of these details. And I am going to remove my face from it because there's so much in here that I want to show you guys. So I don't want my face to interrupt and be in the way. I know many of you may have heard about this case, and while I have been off with some health issues that had got worse, and working on actually 5 other shows at the same time trying to get ready, this came up and I just had to drop everything and go into it. So we're going to be talking about Hailey Buzbee, who is from Fishers, Indiana, who went missing, who did not qualify for an Amber Alert or Silver Alert. That I can tell you, I know her parents were upset about. And we later find out that an online predator from online gaming apps that he met her through came to Indiana, picked her up, took her to Columbus, Ohio, then Logan, Ohio, murdered her. He's 39 years old. It's now a federal case. We're going to be talking about Hailey's Law and an actual update that happened today, just hours before we went on, that is good news, but not yet done. And I'm going to talk about his Indiana connections of what I can share with you right now. Some of the research I did may show a much deeper Indiana connection, but I'm waiting to hear back from someone that I communicated with to verify that part, but I'll show you which ones I do have. The apps that he was using, other people who have communicated about him. And I'm going to also share with you about, in my opinion, that I believe he could be a member of the 764, the community of the online predators that I've covered many, many times for you guys, and I'll show you why. And then an update of NECMEC, the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. Cyber tips hit a new record in Indiana for 2025. It's so sad. And that's why this stuff is so important, that we try to get this information out there. I do want to warn anybody, information that we're going to share from the affidavit that was submitted by the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Cincinnati office can be disturbing. And so I want to give that content warning to everybody. I put this in here because I always forget to do this. I am a non-monetized channel on purpose. Been doing this for 4 years, and I do this to try to help educate, warn people, and to bring them actual facts about a case. I don't do it for clicks, and I don't do it for dollars. I do it to help people and bring what I know. So please hit that like button. Please subscribe, hit that notification. Also, if you want to see updates and information of things going on. So let's first talk about Hailey Buzbee. When she was first missing, you may have noticed in the community post that you can watch on YouTube. In the community, I did some notifications of when Hailey was missing. And when she went missing on January 6th, her family was very active in getting out the word about her, even though there was not an alert issued. They were out passing out the flyers that you see to the left. That was the latest flyer that they did that had the QR code at the time, trying to get information and using social media to try to spread the word about her. We shared that information on here, but I want to just show the initial about when she was first missing to try to help anybody who did not originally hear about the case.
The family of a missing teen in Hamilton County says they are desperate for answers tonight. Fishers police are calling Hailey Buzbee an endangered missing juvenile.
CBS 4's Charles Benberry has the message from her family.
We'll never stop. We're never going to stop looking for her. And we just miss our girl.
It's been 2 weeks since Bo and Rania have seen their daughter Hailey. They've passed out more than 20,000 flyers, but still no sign from their daughter.
We miss you so much, and everything just feels so incomplete without you.
If you're listening to this, just let us know that you're okay and that you're safe, and please just come home.
My name is Hailey.
Hailey is a junior at Hamilton Southeastern. Friends and family say she's a smart and caring girl who loved reading and being with her family.
Excuse me, fellas.
According to Fishers police, the 17-year-old was last seen with her parents at their home in Fishers. Police originally thought she ran away from home on January 5th or the early morning of January 6th. Now police believe she did not act alone and willingly left the home with a plan. The case has now been upgraded from a runaway teen to an endangered missing juvenile.
So as parents, you go from hopeful to hopelessness to, being laser focused on, you're willing to do anything just to find your girl.
Doug Coons is a retired FBI agent. He encourages parents to talk with their kids and to look for any signs that may raise questions.
Turning their phone over or minimizing a screen when you walk in. These are little signs that maybe individually wouldn't be enough to cause concern, but when you put them all together, you can sense something is wrong.
Happy birthday to you.
For a family that will do anything to get their daughter back, they hope Hailey will return home soon, safe and sound.
We're all scratching our heads, just trying to figure out the why and what may have happened.
In Indianapolis, Charles Benberry, CBS 4 News.
So I set up a timeline going off of the affidavit that was used for the criminal complaint against Tyler Nike Thomas. And sorry if I sound a little choked up. Just watching Hailey's family. Talk about that. So some of this I'll end up repeating when I go and look at and share with you the details, very specific details of the affidavit, and even show you maps and stuff of where this all took place, what was going on and what happened. But I want to be very detailed of that information with you guys and show everything that we know, what we learned, and things I have found. So on the 6th of January, Hailey's parents woke up and there was a note left that said that she ran away and asked that no one search for her. So the parents called 911 to the Fishers Police Department, and they contacted the Fishers Police Department, in turn contacted Hailey's friends, but no one knew of her whereabouts. So the Fishers police then obtained a ping warrant for Hailey's cell phone. However, the cell phone info showed that it had been turned off or in airplane mode because it was not receiving signals from any cell tower. So in the following days, Fishers Police Department started canvassing the neighborhood around where Hailey lived. The canvass went to 2 different residents that lived nearby her. One of them was woken up by dogs barking, and that was around 3:30 in the morning of January 6th. So this guy looks outside, what appeared to be, by looking out the window, a dark colored minivan in front of his house. And he walked outside, and then the vehicle drove away. So he did provide a copy of his video, but it was not a good video copy to determine anything off of the vehicle at the time. So they went to a second resident who revealed on their camera, revealed a dark colored SUV that was traveling eastbound on 141st Street. I'm going to show you exactly what that is on the map and show you where he was, in the direction of where Hailey lived. But that was at 3:14 a.m. And that was on the 6th. And then the SUV pulled into a side street that they believed was West Street, stopping, turning off its headlights for a period of time, and then turn the headlights back on, and then continue to travel eastbound on 141st Street towards Hailey's house. At that point, it got out of camera range, and then when it returned camera view, it was observed that it stopped at the end of Hailey Street, and you'll see how easy that was because she's the last house on the block off the main road. And it was there about 3:19, and then at 3:21 a.m., then that's when you hear the dog barking. That's at the other guy's house. And the SUV began traveling westbound on 101st Street. So the Fishers Police Department declared an EDA to get iCloud information from Apple. And then Apple did a partial return showing that the device last outgoing text message was at 3:04 a.m. on the 6th to an automated message from TikTok. And her reply message appeared to show that she was attempting to log in into an account. And I'm going to show you what that was, because he had her switch to Session. And I'll tell you what that app is as well. So Hailey's father, who is Buzbee, who you saw in the earlier video, had let the police know that her devices came off of their internet router between 3:05 and 3:10 a.m. on the 6th. So based on that information and the camera footage, it was believed that Hailey had left the home sometime between 3 o'clock and 3:30 a.m. on the 6th, right? Well, guess what? However, at that time, they say they did not have sufficient information to believe that she was endangered, missing juvenile. The alerts that we have for kids, because when they're classified as a runaway, do not qualify as an Amber Alert or a Silver Alert. So even with knowing all of this, she's not classified into that. So again, as I said, some of these I put in different orders as I had them and researched stuff and pulled things up. So forgive me of that, but I tried to put them in best order as I could. So I am showing you, if you look at the dark blue line, It's only two options to come from Columbus, Ohio to, she lives in the Fishers area. That's where she goes to school, in Fishers School in Hamilton County. But her actual address is Fortville, but it's just right there on the edge of Fishers. So if you see somebody has Fortville or Fishers, basically it's not an untrue statement. Her address was actual in Fortville. So as you can see in the dark blue line, from his address that he was staying at to her house, it was about 2.5 hours. Now on January 31st, now I want you to remember, she went missing on the 6th of January, right? So we're talking not till January 31st of 2026, an arrest warrant for Tyler Knight Thomas is issued by Franklin County in Ohio. Now, I will tell you, this man has many alternate accounts, many fake profiles, used alternate names. I think we're going to have a lot more information that comes out about this guy. You'll see as I get deeper into it for all of you. And it also shows that the reason that they did this is because they found the video and photographs of Hailey, of CSAM, in a deleted file. And he had it also in a cache of photos that he took of that video. He had collected in a blocked file that he had in protected stuff. So this is the original Hockin County Sheriff's Office that did the arrest, and they go through all of the details of when they sent this out. This was a Facebook post that they did. And I'm not going to read through this because we're going to go through all of these details. But he was incarcerated on February 1st. So the case then turned over on February 9th into a federal case. So the FBI Cincinnati office is the one who's taking the lead on this. And I went into the federal files to look up what they have for him and to pull up the documentation of everything in here. These are currently what documents are listed under his federal charges. So when you go in to try to access all of these, you know that when you go into these documents, not every document is available. Only the ones you can see a line that's underneath it. And you can tell from the beginning they were sealing the case. I'll also show you information that what has been released has been, I don't want to say redacted, even though there is a little bit redacted. There's information that's not in there. Not everything they found is in there, which we know in the beginning of a case, you're not going to see everything. But so when you go on these, you pay for each file, and then you have to pay per page for each file. So I do have access to that. And again, showing you that this was done on February 10th. So this was the request to seal the information for the criminal complaint. This was the order that they supported, that it would have public records after they did a revised version of the affidavit. So that's where we're going to get that information and stuff off of. So that is when the United States District Court for the Southern District of Ohio ordered the charging of Tyler Knight Thomas for sexual exploitation of a minor, travel and interstate commerce with the intent to engage in illicit sexual conduct. He has not yet, as of this date, been charged with murder. Yet. This is the affidavit in support of the criminal complaint. The FBI agent in charge of this is Josh Salter. And this goes through specific details, which, again, I'm just breaking down for each one here for you. So in the days after Hailey's parents told the Fishers Police Department that they were able to log into Hailey's Snapchat account and observed a private messages between her and an adult male. Now, this is the photo I wanted to show you. I blocked out because it's not fair to share the victim's actual physical address. I know some do, but I'm not. But what I do want to show you is, and I don't know if you can ever see my mouse thing. I have horrible eyesight, so I can't tell if you can see a mouse move or not. But if you see the yellow arrow, right there behind the back part of the arrow, you see East Street. The arrow is pointing the direction of 101st. So when one of the cameras they noticed was pulled into East Street. So the car went into East Street, sat there and was waiting, and then eventually moved out, came out on 140 or 101st Street, going eastbound towards Hailey's house. Where you see the red balloon is Hailey's house. So this is the car going that direction. And then when we talk about that, it noticed that it was parked near where Hailey's house is. You can see how much room they have to the side of that house that Hailey could come out to there and get into that vehicle and take off. So on the 16th of January, remember she went missing the 6th, Fishers Police Department reviewed flock license plates. I think it's very interesting to see what they can watch and find, especially when you think about, for instance, the Delphi case. What can they find? What can they have? What do areas have? So using flock, they found the license plate reader. And they did that based on the times and the area of Hailey's residence, and reviewed where they found a black 2014 black Acura SUV with Indiana license plate number WEP 220 in the area. So here we know what time that was leaving the house because of the time they saw and everything. And now we've got the license plate reader seeing this vehicle leaving the area around that time and then going on streets that do have cameras where they can trace it. They tracked that vehicle across several flock cameras and noticed it traveling eastbound away from Fishers, Indiana. They reviewed the camera history for Indiana license plate, and they noted that the vehicle pattern life of the license plate was primarily in Columbus, Ohio. I will tell you that when I saw the license plate number, I did do a search with the BMV license plate number and saw that the vehicle itself was from Muncie, Indiana. It was originally a leased vehicle and then went into a purchase, and that it had only ever been registered at a Muncie BMV branch, and that the last branch, this isn't in anything that's written here, I'm just telling you what I did, by the way, if you're looking, the last branch that it renewed in was in 2025, which means it's not due yet, right? renewed in Muncie, Indiana. So here's our, Muncie, Indiana, or Indiana connection. So as they go from and see that it's primarily in Columbus, Ohio, they quickly reach out to the owner of the vehicle, which I find interesting that they call Jane Doe 2, because there's no Jane Doe 1 listed in the information. So there's a difference between MV1, minor victim 1, right? And then Jane Doe 2. So which means there's a Jane Doe 1, but in none of the information that we have in the criminal affidavit does it name that, right? It doesn't have that. So anyway, they call Jane Doe 2 via telephone. And Jane Doe 2 confirmed that she owns the vehicle, but that she was in Florida. And so they tell them that she believes that Thomas may have it, right? And so he may be, driving the vehicle. So after that, she telephones directly to Tyler Thomas, and he does say that he was basically in the area, and that then she calls the police back and tells them that she talked to him, and that she informed them that she had spoke to Thomas and confirmed that he was the one driving the vehicle the morning of January 6th in the area of Luxhaven, which is about a mile from Hailey's house. So then she provided the telephone number to the Fishers police, which his phone number is 808-381-1466. Well, let me let you know about this. His phone number has an area code for Hawaii, and that is a connection. He is from there, and I'll tell you later in this about all of that. So the FBI contacted T-Mobile, and they wanted the records for that phone number. And FBI Indianapolis offered assistance in that investigation. And so the cellular analysis surveillance team, which is CAST, which we actually have in our FBI Indianapolis office. There's only so many across the country, and Indianapolis has one. Ironic, since I think there was stuff in Delphi that could have been done better. But anyway, that it traveled from Columbus, Ohio to Fortville, Indiana. That's what I told you about, that it's Fishers, but whatever. Overnight on January 5th. So he left Columbus in the early or super late night of the 5th into January 6th, and then returned to Columbus, Ohio the morning of January 6th. So he went straight back to there. They also determined that he had the phone went from Columbus, Ohio to Logan, Ohio on the afternoon of January 6th. Then it arrived in an area of Airbnbs, which is there's a major street of that, and I'm going to show you that on a map too, on Walnut Dowler Road in Logan, Ohio. He left that location, that Airbnb, after he was only there like 5 or 10 minutes, and he traveled into town in Logan, Ohio to a Kroger. And I'm going to show you where that is. And then he was only at the Kroger for, they say, 5 to 10 minutes. And then he goes back to the Airbnb, and he doesn't leave that Airbnb until January 7th at 9:25 a.m. And that's where he traveled northeast of Logan to the North Country Trailhead. He went at that location. He stayed there until 2:15 p.m. and then he traveled back to Columbus, Ohio. And that's where they noticed that he returned back to 947 Hunter Avenue, Columbus, Ohio. So again, breaking this down. So we've got January 6th. So he picks her up at 3 o'clock in the morning. He goes straight back to Columbus, Ohio. Then he goes to that house, and I'll show you where that's located. Then he's there, and then the afternoon of January 6th, the same day he picked her up, he goes to that Airbnb residence off of Walnut Dollar Road. Then he's there for a little period of time, takes off, leaves, goes to Kroger, buys some stuff at the Kroger, goes back to the Airbnb. So then we've got on January 7th is when Tyler's phone stays in that Airbnb until 9:25 a.m. on January 7th, 2026. Then he travels to that North Country trailhead, which is at Wayne National Park in Columbus, and that stayed there in that location. So basically, the reason he stayed at this location is because this is where they find Hailey Buzbee's body. Just a little more than 24 hours, he has already murdered her. So here's Tyler Nike Thomas, 39, of Columbus, Ohio. So going through his info, I know that there is some info that what is her name just escaped me right now. True Crime Mama. I hope I'm not calling her the wrong name. So there was some stuff here, the one to the left. You can see that this one she had posted from some things, but he was going by the name also as James. Here in the middle, you'll see some that I found in Tyler Thomas James, which was on a Facebook post. As you can see, it was restricted. And another one that was a warning of the James. And this one, he is saying that he was on the Boo app and communicating to people. Now here he's saying he's an engineer, and he's showing that he's at the University San Diego, California. Over to the one on the far left, he's talking about, as James, that he loves to travel, explore, and experiment. He's from an island. Remember, I told you he's originally from Hawaii, where he was raised when he was younger, but soon to be hiking up some mountains or in the Midwest. Here's some reports from women who have dealt with him and have had some creepy experiences. These are grown women. He was on, they communicated with him on Tinder and Boo for the ones who did indicate. So we've got, I met James. James is actually Tyler. And it's 100% him. James' jawline is really square in person, just like the mugshot. Same eyes, face, hair, same freckles. I left his apartment after 10 minutes. Claimed to only have a bike and no car. Met him for coffee, and then we went to his place, but left quickly. I don't know why. I just had to leave. Nothing bad happened, just a bad gut feeling. Had very empty apartment. Mattress on the floor of his room, and nobody else was there, but he claimed to have 3 roommates. Another person, I hung out with him in 2023 after matching on Tinder. Took me to his apartment, mattress on the floor, rode a bike, not many belongings, large, desolate apartment for 3 or 4 roommates, 2 sexually forward, and I got weirded out, like bad guy feeling, weirded out, and left. Then to the far right, before I get to the bottom one, which I found those two bottom ones, these other ones were listed in Are We Dating the Same Guy? That was from True Crime Mama. First name is actually Tyler, and I suspect there's a partner who may not know what he's out doing. Warning if anyone else has met James, she put in parentheses, in person, or quotation, sorry, or possibly know him, and I could confirm if there is someone else in the picture. So somebody asked her to DM them, and then he says, I'm telling you, this guy, I'm talking to this guy. Can you DM me? And then that person asked for a DM. Then another person says, I am literally seeing him tonight. LOL. He's extremely non-monogamous. So if that isn't your thing, there's your red flag. Bottom one. I went out with this guy twice and hooked up with him in Ann Arbor, Michigan. In 2023, I was 24. I remember her going out and getting really drunk. She got really drunk. Then we hooked up. The next week, we went out again, and I tried to find more info on him. He claimed he was 30, which we know he's 39 now. He graduated from, he's saying, University of Michigan to her, and was working at the university. But my friends and I couldn't find any info on him. When I asked him about it, he ghosted me. We tried to look him up on social media, but it was like he didn't exist. He also went by James and said he was an engineer and that his family was from Hawaii. Well, that's the only damn true thing that he actually said. Right? Hold on, I see a question. Right, Jinx. Firewife, he originally met on Roblox and League of Legends. And I've got that a little further up on here. Here's another post. This was done on a Facebook thing. A female on Facebook said she met him through Boo app. He showed up knocking on her door looking for a place to stay. Look how creepy this stuff is. So just days, like when he was being hiding, he had just went to this girl's house that he briefly dated, knocked on the door, told her he was homeless and he was seeking shelter. And they're commenting that that was 2 weeks ago. So then they're commenting of, well, maybe he got kicked out or his girlfriend or whatever. This is before people know what's going on. So here's some stuff that I tracked that I have confirmed on his. Luckily, as soon as he got arrested, I had went to pull background stuff, social media things or whatever. This in no way of what I'm going to share with you is not everything I have. I messaged some people that I'm waiting from, and I will tell you the Indiana link that I'm going to share with you shows a link to Indiana, that he's been here and that he's continued to be here. However, if I get a confirmation of what I just communicated to somebody with, he's going to have a Indiana connection that is going to blow some of your minds away, because I can't believe it either. And that's why I'm like, I need to verify this, because it's a whole nother link, a whole nother stuff that he was saying he was doing in Indiana. And I'm just going to let you know that. And as soon as I confirm it, trust me, I'll be out with it. So Tyler Knight Thomas originally is from Pearl City, Hawaii. He has family still from there. His mother is still from here. His cell phone is traced back by law enforcement, that 808 area code that I told you about. Well, it's listed under his mother's account of the phone plan, right? So Tyler Knight Thomas lived at 2214 Amicu Place in Pearl City, Hawaii, from approximately January 3rd of 2023 to April 1st of 2017. I'm going to let you know it states that because it can track if mail and things like that are getting there. If what I found is correct, he would have left there before 2017. And let me say this, and not to who you may think connected to. If what I'm saying is correct, even the person that is connecting him, that I can positively connect him right now to Indiana, if what I found is true, he was in Indiana in 2017, not connected to the person I'm fixing to tell you about, that connects the car, that connects where he lived in Ann Arbor, Michigan, when hooking up with those people that they were talking about that he was meeting up in Michigan, and connects to him at Columbus, Ohio. Okay? So the person I'm going to call is LL. I know some people can find the name, but I don't want to point out this person because there's some people who don't have common sense, and they're going to go harass somebody that may have nothing to do with this at all. But LL is the owner of the black 2014 Honda Acura SUV. That Tyler Knight Taylor was driving when he came to pick up Hailey, when he drove back to Columbus, and that they picked up at that house in Columbus, Ohio, that they seized it to get evidence and stuff from. So LL is the one who grew up and registered the car in Muncie, Indiana. LL and her family are from Muncie. And again, I shared with you, the car was last registered in Muncie, Indiana in 2025. So whether they were sharing the vehicle and she let him drive it or whatever, he did not have to yet renew it to put it in different plates, or they didn't have to renew it to put it in Ohio. So Tyler Thomas, and I do adjust as the wording to be cautious, may have shared an address, which is the same address that was listed in Ann Arbor, Michigan address at 2724 Dillon Drive in Ann Arbor, Michigan, with LL from June 1st of 2020 to May 31st of 2023, so for approximately 3 years. We know he's been in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Why? Because we have confirmation of women online. Some of them have been told to contact the Columbus police or the FBI Cincinnati office, which I encourage anybody who has had any communication with Tyler Knight Thomas, James Thomas. Definitely, if you recognize the picture of him, to do so also. But those people who have contacted talked about him using alternative names to meet up with people in Ann Arbor, Michigan, right? So then we have Tyler Thomas may have shared an address in Columbus, Ohio at 947 Hunter Avenue with LL. Now, this is interesting. From October 3rd of 2024 to October 29th of 2024 for 26 days. Same address where he took her in 2026. Before going to an Airbnb when law enforcement found that Honda SUV at this Columbus, Ohio address. Now, it was showing he would no longer supposed to be at this address. Remember that some of the women said that he was taken to an address that only had a mattress, it had different rooms, and nobody was staying in the rooms. I will tell you, in what I found probably 6 or 7 different names of other people who stayed at this same address for a short period of time, including some females, which are concerning to me, by the way, during this time that Tyler Thomas was there, which makes me thought process of that they were renting out rooms or something like that for people there. So this is what other information I want to share with you. Now, at this moment, I cannot show, or let me put it this way. I don't know when Tyler Thomas did he meet LL. LL is younger than him by 3 years. I will tell you that LL is a doctor. And in the information that I am sharing is that this woman, she busted her ass going to school and earning a medical degree and traveled to different universities. Now, some of the addresses in here, or let me take that back. Some of the cities and states that are in here, in info that I've seen for Tyler Thomas, he's had addresses at those locations, but not necessarily sharing with LL. Okay? But what I want to point out to you is that, again, remember, LL lived in Muncie with her family. They grew up in there. So in 2006 and 7, she was doing an internship in Indianapolis. From 2007 to 2009, she was in Lafayette, Indiana, at Purdue University for 2 years. Then, and I have stuff to show that I believe he was also in Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis, Missouri, while she was there from 2009 to 2015. So we're talking 6 years. In 2015 through 16, she went to the University at Buffalo. These are because different practices, different things you have to obtain in order to get the specialization that she got. Because she's not just a radiologist, she's also a specialized neurologist who practices in multiple states. Right? So then we have that for 4 years, she's at the University of Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky. Again, I believe that he was there also for a period of time, but I don't think he stayed there that whole time. And then we see that she was in Ann Arbor, Michigan from 2020 to 2023. When you look to the right side of the page, I have pulled some medical info that shows, and again, I blocked out her real name because this doesn't mean anything with her, especially if she's traveling, moving. And we heard that this guy, according to one of the people in there of, hey, in the Reddit stuff, and that they're talking to each other, where they're like, hey, he doesn't believe commitment, whatever. He's just going to have a relationship, whatever. But LL is currently in Columbus, Ohio. So that's where he was showing. But what's interesting is what he tells the police, and I'll show you. And let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I think we're going to find out way more about this guy that's going to be horrible. And I pray to God it's not more victims, but I don't have a good feeling. So this is the address in which he was staying at 947 Hunter Avenue. Now, remember, in the stuff that I showed, it was showing that he supposedly was only supposed to be there for a matter of less than a month. Now, when you pull this up on Google, and I know people have been with the Delphi case, that when we were all working on the Delphi case information back then, you would have stuff you could Google and they would block out stuff that you couldn't pull up and see. And I definitely found that to be the case here, but there are ways around it. So here's the satellite shot. Again, showing where he drove to, took Hailey to first. He went there that morning to take Hailey there. So here it is, 947 Hunter Avenue, Columbus, Ohio. Anybody out there who does their own true crime show, let me tell you how you can get around getting pictures of a house that the Google has decided to block from you. Guess what? Have you heard of a site called Zillow, where you can find out if a house is for sale? Well, go enter that address and it'll show you the house. So this is a Victorian style home. This is when, and remember, Hailey went missing January 6th. February 11th was the first time that the FBI raided where Tyler Thomas was staying at that address. Now, this shows when he was arrested. And I want to point out to you the highlighted in yellow that is in the report for which he told police. And that is that he is homeless. Remember, in the information that was shared, there were the female who said he showed up at her house about 2 weeks ago, according to when that was posted, knocking on her door, right? They're not dating. They didn't continue a relationship, saying that he was homeless and he needed a place to stay. Not knowing, obviously, that he is wanted, right? So he's homeless. They didn't even list that location he first went to in Columbus, Ohio is his address. Probably because he's not supposed to be staying there. So on January 16th, when the FBI went to the Columbus, Ohio address, they met uniformed police department from Columbus that was helping them. They went to that address that I showed you the picture for at 947 Hunter Avenue. They talked to Thomas and asked his reason for being in Fishers. You're going to love this stuff. On the morning of January 6th, he confirmed he was driving the Acura. And he said that initially he stated that he was in the area to look at different places, like the local airport. Okay, there's no goddamn big airport there. Let me just say that right now. An apple orchard. That's when you go look at an apple orchard, right? In January. But partway through the interview, he admitted that he did pick up Hailey from her house in Fortville, like I told you, Fishers area. And that they showed Thomas a picture of her. And Thomas confirmed that the picture depicted is the person he picked up from Fisher's. He stated that he met Hailey online through Discord and had been playing various games with her. And this will be info, and this will confirm. I know some people are like, "Oh, what? How where the games are?" Because it tells it in here. During the interview, they retrieved his phone, and he showed the police the Discord account and how he was communicating with Hailey. And he stated that Hailey asked him to pick her up from her residence, and he agreed to, and that he stated once he picked her up from there, he drove her eastbound towards Ohio. And then he stated that near Eaton, Ohio, which I will show you on a map, that he's saying that Hailey wanted to be dropped off there on the side of the road. He also said that he communicated with her on an application called Session. I'll tell you about that app as well. Which it's secured, and you have to have a passcode to log into it. So he shows the police the exact location on a map where he said that he had dropped her off near US 35 and State Road 320 in Eaton, Ohio. So after the analysis of the phone was done, that they could show that he didn't stop in Eaton, Ohio. That's the direction and timeline I went through with you. He didn't stop there. They knew that after they looked at the phone. And then not till January 18th, the Fishers Police Department confirmed with the Airbnb that was in Ohio that he had stayed there at Hocking Hills Airbnb. It's on Walnut Dollar in Logan, which I'll show you that on the map as well. And then on January 6th, he stayed there with another person on the reservation that he made, right? On the 21st of January, the search warrant was signed by the Franklin County Court to go to the 947 100th Avenue and locate any evidence related to Hailey. And then during that search warrant, that same day, they collected different items, which was the cell phone, laptop computers, and other evidence, which they, didn't list. So we're talking Discord and Session. So what is a Session app? Well, get ready, everybody. Here's another one people are going to tell your kids to go to and get off gaming. So it's a free open source end-to-end encrypted messaging app designed for maximum anonymity and privacy. It requires no phone number or email to create an account using unique randomized session ID instead, and it protects users' metadata by using a decentralized onion routing network. So basically, it uses the onion routing so that it doesn't, it hides your IP address and your location. And with the end-to-end encryption of the messaging, you can have group people in there, up to 100 people, and file sharing. And when we go further in this of his communication, what he said to Hailey and what he showed to Hailey, it will show you why I believe he could possibly be a member of the 764 or, definitely a group, spinoff group of the COM, because of what he says to her. And this app is made in, it's a Swiss-based company who made this. So, of course, we have an out-of-country app again. These are people that have posted up complaining that there are people sharing CSAM on Session, that there are pedophiles talking to kids on there. And these are people who have been on Session, using Session, and have been complaining. And if you looked at the developer's response, yeah, they don't give a shit. It doesn't matter. It's kind of like Roblox, right? You guys have heard all the stuff about Roblox. The CEO's comment about Roblox is a goddamn joke, saying that they're doing everything they can to protect kids when you see more and more predators who are using it. This is talking about the Sessions app and when they revealed about this in the news.
According to the search warrant, Thomas admitted to meeting 17-year-old Hailey Buzbee through a gaming platform. Investigators later determined the two communicated using an encrypted messaging app called Session. Court documents showed Thomas orchestrated Buzbee's plan to run away and arranged it all through that app. The documents also note a specific code was required to access his account, and deleting that code would prevent law enforcement from viewing the messages. The affidavit states advanced extraction techniques are needed to recover data from the account. Authorities believe Thomas drove to Indiana to pick up the teen and then brought her back to Ohio. Investigators collected DNA evidence from his vehicle, including a hair tie and a seat cover, and documented the car with nearly 4 dozen photos. Thomas also acknowledged having a reservation at a Logan rental property, but claimed he went there alone. However, the Hocking County Sheriff's Office searched that property, believing the two were together there at some point. And on February 1st, police confirmed Thomas led investigators to Hailey Buzbee's remains in the Wayne National Forest in Perry County.
Thanks for watching.
So this is the information that shows what he was communicating with her on. So during the interview, this was on the 21st, he, at the police department, they gave him his rights and he waived those. And he stated that he knew Hailey, that they had been playing video games such as Roblox and League of Legends for over a year. So he had been grooming her for a frickin' year, which means that she was at least 16, if not 15, when he started talking to her, based on birthdays. He also reiterated that him and Hailey communicated on Discord. Again, he does that so that, people can't just click into that. And they asked if he knew when she would be 18, to which he's sitting here, I thought she was 18. And I literally mean he said, because I'm reading it. But it came out that she had gotten, that it was months till she would turn 18. So that he planned for him to pick her up. And then near Christmas time, he said he was going to get her. Ultimately decided on January 5th of 2026. He confirmed to the police that reservation that he made for the Airbnb was made on 4th of 2026, which technically it actually was made on the 5th, but I'll show you that because it was on receipts, unless the receipt didn't show till then. But and that Hailey didn't know about the Airbnb, and that it was, he already knew that he was, it was like a crime to help someone run away, is what he told them. However, when they asked if he would tell them if he killed her, he responded, "I think she's alive and safe." And when the police interrupted, "So you wouldn't tell me if you did?" To which Thomas then replied, No, I wouldn't tell you. I wouldn't say anything earlier because I want her to be 18 and not reach back to her family. And he believed that he was not telling the truth. Obviously, the police did. And then stated that she'll be all right, and I would like to talk to a lawyer. So at that point, then they had to go to a lawyer from that, right? So on the 22nd, in the search warrant at from Franklin County, that's when they took the car. and they found items. They took 5 items collected, which included a hair tie and DNA swabs. And when they continued that investigation, with the assistance of the FBI and the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, did the search warrant at the Airbnb on Walnut Drive in Logan, and where he stayed with her on the night of January 6th. They did the physical search warrant, and they also had that same day, they went and looked bank records for him, which revealed charges at a gas station appeared to be between Columbus, Ohio, and Indiana, which was in Knightstown, Indiana, and that had it on the map, but and the restaurant in Fortville, Indiana, where minor victim 1 worked. And the charges occurred on June 5th of 2025. So that means his bank records show that he had come to Indiana back in 2025 and showed up to her work. But it also shows that prior to him arriving at her work, guys, he goes and on his way here, he stops at an adult novelty store at the Lion's Den at Columbus, Ohio. So God help us. And when I read something to you that he sent to her that they did find, it's just disgusting. So they did locate stuff at the residence too that basically showed that the crime happened at the Airbnb, because they did find blood. This is the black 2014 Acura 4-door SUV RDX, what it looks like, that they removed things from. This is what the car looks like. So his phone number was identified as that 808 number. They also identified a Snapchat conversation that shows that he used communication back in July 1st of 2025. So this would be really early on when he's first talking to her, and he's asking her what her age is, and then he's trying to get her to go to the other app. So they go through that. They show the different folders that they had. They showed him trying to hide this information, that he had a Samsung device, and that he moved Snapchat and some of these applications, he moved to a secure folder so that somebody could not just easily get to it, right? So let me see. Tyler Thomas' device showed that he installed Snapchat in a secured folder, but uninstalled it prior to a forensic exam. Boy, who does that sound like? Does that sound like a Keegan Klein shit to you? Google Audio and directions were located on the phone, so it showed him looking to how to get to her house. Discord conversation between Tyler Thomas and Hailey was discovered from December 13th of 2025. And so in this information that it shows, where, like, here's the directions, take left here, turn right here, all of this kind of stuff, including when they found these images and stuff on his phone that was in a cache folder that was named under Hailey. He sat here and was trying to delete those. He also had a folder of Google Maps that they located, which showed him going to the North Country Trail trailhead, which is where he took them to find her body. And in this comment at the beginning of this conversation, which is at the very bottom, again in Discord, was daydreaming about disposing of a toy for Christmas. So she's like, okay. And you could tell how uncomfortable she is in this. Sorry, depraved gore thoughts. Is that going too far? So he continues in the disgusting conversation, right? And he's saying stuff to her, and she's like, oh, I don't understand it. He goes like, oh, forgive me. I wanted to make a few new holes in it to see how good it felt. She goes, in what? And he says, some young little, God forgive me, fuck meat teen. And she's like, oh, okay. And he's like, mm-hmm. Does baby carve parts of her own body? He goes, we need to finish this later. She goes, we need to finish this later. I'm studying. So she ends the conversation. Then later that day, she's like, he's like, oh, baby, how are you? He says, she goes, I'm good, you? He goes, I'm having very dark but stimulating thoughts. She's like, oh no. He goes, I know. I was wondering how I would get away with it because she would definitely tell. Well, we find out he's talking about another minor victim, right? So he's like, she's like, I don't know. He says, he goes, keep it locked in the basement. She goes, don't know. I don't know the girl. And he goes, I guess I'll be a good man for the time being and ask how much you've been carving yourself. Now, anybody knows that in those groups that we've seen online, like 764, they encourage the children to carve and hurt themselves. He's asking her about when's the last time you've carved yourself, you've hurt yourself. And he's asking her this shit. She goes, not a lot. He goes, oh, but you look so good covered in red. Thomas then says, not in class now, are you? She goes, no, we're off today. Then he goes, how lucky? College? ? No. Even better. And he says, I hope our gap is even larger than I think. She goes, me too. And Thomas says, would you be fine with someone really old encouraging to cut yourself while he's inside you? I think the pain will make you tighten up even more. She's like, mm-hmm. She goes, let's see, your age minus mine. He says 26 years. Okay, well, 26 years would be the actual age difference of Thomas and Hailey, Tyler Thomas and Hailey now. But look at the ending. He goes, she says to him, how old are you? And he says 41. He says, then Thomas says 42 this year. Well, this is in December. His birthday's in November. So my question is there's multiple people talking to her on Discord that he's letting sign in, talking and communicating with her, because he's 39. With other women, he's claiming how much younger he is. Why would he suddenly claim that he's older than he really is to her? 41 or 42. So he sits here and he says that he's going to turn this age in a week. And she said he was right about the age. She goes, oh, happy early birthday. And he says to her, is that 9th grade? And she says 10th. So when they're reviewing his materials that is in his stupid ass phone, sorry, it makes me mad. Sorry, forgive me. He sits here and there is a photograph of a 7 to 10-year-old girl who has a mask on her, while an adult male in a mask is in the video with, so a prepubescent girl, because they're not sure who she is, with this purple mask on her eyes, and the black the black mask is being worn by the guy who's on top of this little girl with his hands on her buttocks and his mouth near her vagina. There's a watermark on it that says KPP83.com, which means he's getting this from a kiddie porno site sharing crap. And in the lower right corner of the image, there is a, when they see it, they see an image of a blanket, which appears in this photo of this girl, that is the same blanket that they see, background that they see for Hailey, to show that this victim was being violated. It appears to be at the same house in Columbus, Ohio, that Hailey's photos after she is murdered is found with the same background. So this is seen by the officer when he's looking at the device. They have to go get a second search warrant on January 26th of 2026 in order for them to continue to search, since there's CSAM in there, and shows that there had been stuff deleted with images and photos taken at the Columbus, Ohio house and at the Airbnb in Logan, Ohio. It's horrific. Now, there's more in here from that same bed frame and search warrant, again, in the 947 Hunter Avenue, that they find, and this total series of images. And you can pause this and read it if you'd like, but it's pretty disgusting. Now, the Airbnb rental property located on Walnut Dollar Road in Logan, Ohio, is known for its seclusion. I did the search and stuff of info on that to show you, and it highlights the privacy. These cabins are often secluded, sometimes on large wooded acres. The receipt for this, when they got his information, showed that the reservation was made on January 5th of 2026, the day before he picked Hailey up. Again, that's when the receipt went through. If he could have called, right, then there you go. So here is where Tyler Thomas rented the Airbnb. This is Walnut on Dowler Road. So you can see it's kind of out there. This is all wooded area. So these are Airbnbs that you can rent. And what are they close to that's highlighted in this? If you look at the bottom of the photo of where they track the phone right to this, that's in the area of Wayne National Forest, about 50 miles southwest of Columbus. Well, Wayne National Forest is where he headed towards, and that's where you get to the trailhead he took her body to. So January 31st, the criminal complaint sign in Franklin County, Ohio. On February 1st, 2026, Tyler Thomas was transferred from Franklin County Correctional Facility and transported to North Country Trailhead in Wayne National Forest, where Hailey's dismembered remains were found. Dismembered her. So, during this review, They identified the Roblox application, Discord installed on the device, also identified Session, Snapchat, Kik, Telegram, applications previously installed in a secure folder that then had been deleted from the device. And other than the cache Snapchat screenshot, which was a device created file, on average, user would not know to delete. No communications between Thomas and Hailey could be located on the device. I want anybody who has talked about the Delphi case and saying, why haven't people found shit? This guy had only took, and when I say only, I mean that sarcastically, because it took a freaking month, and she was murdered just over 24 hours later, right? When you want to tell me that there's no way that there was communications between, I don't know, the Kleins and Richard Allen, or that why didn't they find anything on Richard Allen's phone? Let me tell you this. One, he got rid of the phone. He had all the other older phones, but he had that phone was gone that he was using in 2017. He was also signed up to a network that couldn't track you because it didn't have the Google stuff on it that I went through all of that stuff. The I can't think of what it's called right now. The two different numbers you have to have on the phone to trace it. He didn't have that. He also used a service that doesn't track you and trace you at the time with that phone. He got rid of that phone, not the other phones. And you have Keegan, who went to the police station, but only took every device except the device that he was using actually in 2017, goes home, waits a few days, deletes a bunch of shit off of the app, and there you go. So if somebody is using an encrypted site and unsecured stuff, you can't log into it. So this is within a month. So sorry, I'm on my lecturing bin right now. So we've got the criminal complaint, Franklin County. They had the felony of the second degree. They're talking about also charging him with tampering with evidence, which, remember, that's what Keegan Klein was charged with. He was charged for obstruction of justice because he went home and deleted shit off that app. He didn't have time to delete all the CSAM from earlier that he did when he was much younger, but did from that. So on February 1st, that's when Thomas was picked up from the Franklin County Correctional Facility, went with the FBI and stuff, and they went and he was transported to the North Country Trail Trailhead in Wayne National Forest. He went with his attorney, and his attorney was the one who said about him cooperating with them and said about their cooperation, right, with the FBI. And so then he goes out there and they transport him out there for him to show where he buried Hailey. And again, this is where Hailey's body was found dismembered. So they went to show where the body was. And they talked about the crime scene also, that when they went to the crime scene, they believe, again, is the Airbnb where this happened. Again, here's a bunch of these apps. Multiple apps. So if this guy is just trying to so-called cheat on a girlfriend, let's say, right? Maybe a wife. I haven't found a marriage certificate to say he married anybody. He was screwing people, but he was not marrying anybody, right? And that's for the grown women. But when he sits here and he's moving to apps, he's talking to an underage girl, He's specifically making sure she's underage. He's specifically talking about the age difference. He's making it go to a sessions app, which is encrypting. It's hiding his location. And then he's even hiding what his name is, all these different accounts and stuff that it has. Does anybody possibly believe that maybe he's involved more than just cheating? How does he have a figure of a little girl, maybe 7 to 10 years old, on his phone that's hidden in that he's sharing with the girl? They share that kind of shit with kids to make them think that shit is normal. And anybody to tell me or to think or say, because don't do that shit here, that she went with him or whatever. We don't know what happened. We don't know if he was blackmailing, sextorting her. Look at the shocked answer she has. Like, she has nothing to say with what disgusting shit he's saying. We don't know if multiple people are sitting here doing this to this poor girl, right? Here is the Kroger location that he went to 5 to 10 minutes in Logan, Ohio, when he left the Airbnb to there. This is when his attorney contacts the FBI and takes them to where he buried Hailey.
The body of an Indiana teenager has been recovered in Perry County. That's according to the suspect's defense attorney. 17-year-old Hailey Buzbee has been missing since early January. This morning, Columbus resident Tyler Thomas appeared in court accused of being involved in her disappearance. NBC4's Gracie Collins was in that courtroom and tells us what she's learned. Gracie?
Sierra, Thomas received a $1.5 million bond for the charges that he's currently facing, but his defense attorney says that he anticipates that there will be more charges coming out of Hocking County. Now, in the courtroom, Thomas appeared virtually, and the hearing only lasted a couple of minutes. He's charged with 1 count each of pandering sexually oriented matter involving a minor and tampering with evidence. Following the hearing, I spoke with his defense attorney, Sam Szymanski, who says after speaking with his client, they decided to contact the FBI. Buzbee was last seen at her home in early January in Fishers, Indiana, north of Indianapolis. Fishers police say she was in contact with Thomas through online gaming. Columbus police then searched his Columbus home and a rental property in Hocking County, where they found evidence that Buzbee was there. Szymanski revealed that her body was found in Perry County on Sunday.
We accompanied law enforcement and the FBI to Perry County. And we assisted with pinpointing the location of Ms. Buzbee. And so, in speaking with Prosecutor Rugg, who is the Perry County prosecutor, mercifully they were able to work through the evening with BCI at the helm and have, we believe, recovered Ms. Buzbee's body.
Thomas is expected back in court for a preliminary hearing next Tuesday. Local for you in Columbus, I'm Gracie Collins, NBC4.
Gracie, thank you. We will continue to follow this breaking story.
So let me point something out. That is not a court-appointed attorney. That is a high-paid attorney that he has. For a homeless man? Who's paying for the attorney? Also, look how he's talking about, oh, this is, we cooperated, we went out, we went and did this. Now, this is the map again where I showed you from where he was staying at the Hunter Avenue location. You can see the other bubble over there, which shows to Hailey's house, and then the other bubble near it is to where she worked. Here's the other thing. So right above this red square I have on the far right shows you the Airbnb location is starred. The Kroger location is starred, which is close by. You'll see Wayne National Forest, and then you'll see exactly where he took to that trailhead. So here's a closer of that trailhead. Again, it's near New Straitsville. That's where the trailhead itself is. This shows you that it is right off of 190. So you can pull off a 190 to be at that trailhead. This is the some images and stuff from the North Country Trail. It is a long trail. As you can see, it goes from New York to North Dakota, right? It's a national scenic trail. And this may mean even a bigger difference if what I found possibly in Indiana is true. And you'll know when I share it. This creeps me out because this photo reminds me of Delphi so much, of this trail blocked off here. Again, I'm going to show you some more details and stuff about NetMech and Indiana's rise, massive rise of reports from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. You won't even believe it. Since Delphi. Again, here's the walkway from that. That so reminds me of the pathway in Delphi. Again, here's also the trailhead. So this is the final statement in the probable cause affidavit that goes through, that they talk about that that Tyler Knight Thomas went to Columbus, Ohio, from Columbus, Ohio to Fortville, Indiana, overnight on January 5th, arrived at January 6th at 3 a.m. You saw the timeline I did. If not, please go back. He picked up Hailey, female under the age of 18. She's 17. He was talking to her way before then. He returned from Indiana to Southern District of Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, engaged in illicit sexual activity, specifically for the production of child pornography. For probable cause shows that he went into the Southern District of Ohio, specifically Columbus and Logan, Ohio, where he did transport Hailey with the intent, again, and engage in sexual explicit conduct for the purpose of creating visual depictions, basically of CSAM. Anybody under the age of 18, people, are CSAM. I don't give a shit what anybody says. You're having anything that has a nude child under the age of 18, that is a child, period. So we know that he went from there, took her to Logan, had her at the Airbnb, and then by that morning left with her, stayed in that park till 2:15 p.m., where then he headed back to Columbus because he was done burying her. Again, where did he sit here and dismember her? In the woods? In the Airbnb? This is when the news confirms it.
Breaking news in the methodical search for answers into the death of 17-year-old Hailey Buzbee. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jessica Ralston.
And I'm Rodney Dunnigan. The Perry County prosecutor just confirmed that the remains found in the Wayne National Forest are Buzbee's. We've also learned her autopsy is complete, but it is not being released just yet.
The investigation into this teenager's death stretches from central Indiana to Columbus, Perry, and Hocking counties. Steve Levine is in Perry County tonight with a look at what happens next.
Here at Little Italy Pizza in New Straitsville, customers pick up their lunch order not far from where the remains of missing Indiana teen Hailey Buzbee were found in Perry County in Wayne National Forest.
It's just sad. It's so tragic. People think that they can come and do terrible things other places.
39-year-old Tyler Thomas now facing charges connected to the suburban Indianapolis teen's disappearance. Police say Thomas showed them where the high school junior was buried. The Licking County Coroner's Office performed the autopsy on Hailey. They tell us that report sent to the Perry County's coroner office to be released. ABC6 went to the Perry County Coroner's Office in Somerset to get answers when the autopsy will be made public. We were told the details sent to the Perry County prosecutor, who tells us he has not yet seen the report. Thomas now locked up in the Franklin County Jail on $1.5 million bond, accused of pandering sexually oriented material involving a minor and tampering with evidence, both charges connected to Hailey's disappearance. Thomas's attorney says his client not responsible for Hailey's death, but anticipating murder charges to be filed against Thomas in Hocking County, where he will plead not guilty.
He's not going to make bond, so nobody's trying to rush anything.
Hi, can I help you?
Hi, I'm Steve Levine with ABC6. ABC6 went to the Hocking County Prosecutor's Office in Logan to learn when or if charges will be filed. We have not yet heard back. Investigators say Thomas and Hailey met on a gaming platform and he picked her up at her Indianapolis home on January 5th and drove her to Ohio. Police believe the teen lost her life while the two stayed in a Hocking County short-term rental within days of her disappearing nearly a month ago.
We're all neighbors, and we all just feel bad about what's happened. And I hope that there's justice done.
In Perry County, Steve Levine, ABC6 News.
And tonight, we're also hearing from the FBI about Hailey Buzbee in this investigation. They released a statement saying, in part, the investigation is being driven by the pursuit of justice for Hailey due to the many locations and jurisdictions involved, as well as the ongoing nature of this investigation. There is not a timeline for when more information can be released. They go on to ask for patience as investigators work. They say the aim is to protect the integrity of this investigation. And there are a lot of unanswered questions about this investigation. We will continue to dig for information. Make sure you have the free ABC6 app to get alerts as new information is released. Thanks for watching.
So let me say this. One, how does he have money to rent an Airbnb if he's homeless? Where the hell did he get that money from? Two, did you hear in there that his attorney says he's not responsible for Hailey's death? I don't give a shit what excuse they come up with. You kidnapped and took that girl, and she's dead. You're responsible. The end. Now, I don't know what specifically Ohio's laws state. I do know in Indiana, just like at the beginning of Richard Allen, if you kidnap a child, which is a felony in Indiana, and the child ends up dead, you are charged with that felony murder of having an act that led to the death of her. That's why Richard Allen's initial charges were for felony kidnapping, right? That's why it was in there. So then they're already stating that he's going to plead not guilty. Well, he's getting his money's worth from that attorney, isn't he? Here we go. It's just unbelievable. So this is the penalties, the charges for stuff that's going on, the due process protection, right? This is all of this info initially here. I just put these documents together to make it easier. This was a waiver of preliminary hearing, which was signed. This was his waiver of detention hearing, which was signed. Then we've got the order on detention pending trial. They say, oh, well, he's not leaving. He's not putting bond. Yeah, they gave him a $1.5 million bond. If he could make that, I'd really have some damn questions for people, right? Give me a break. Due process protection act order. This is done for that the state sits here and provides everything of information. Anything they get of evidence has to be provided back to the defendant as well. But as they find it, right? They've got to investigate all of it to see what else is going on. This was the update when they said about the details from him. I'm going to show this one real quick.
We're learning new information in the death of a teenage girl from Indiana after her body was recovered in Ohio.
Our sister station in Indianapolis reports that a source close to the investigation tells them 17-year-old Hailey Buzbee's body was dismembered. 39-year-old Tyler Thomas was arrested here in Columbus in connection to Hailey's disappearance. Authorities say Buzbee left her home in Indiana in early January and was considered an endangered missing juvenile. Police were able to link Thomas to her disappearance and say they met through online gaming.
Now, Thomas's lawyer revealed that Thomas led police to Buzbee's remains in Perry County. So far, Thomas has not been charged with murder. He is currently facing charges of tampering with evidence and pandering sexually oriented matter involving a minor. Thanks for watching. For more
So let me tell you an action that you can take as people watching this video, especially if you are a Hoosier living in the Indiana state, of something that you can do. This was immediately after advocated by Bo Buzbee and her mother, of pushing this information out about Hailey's Law. And this is Hailey's Law, and you can see the QR code if you want to scan this right now. If you have not signed the petition, that this is for two things that the Buzbee family would like enacted as Hailey's Law. Now, I do have an update about the alerts that got passed today, so don't leave me. This is really important. If you do anything at all that you can do to help, and I'm going to say this, Hailey's Law should not just be in Indiana. Hailey's Law should be across the United States. And this law would involve expanding emergency systems to alert the public for missing persons and children when an amber or silver alert criteria aren't met. I can't say how many families have sent me information and trying to push out there of children that are not being looked for because they're saying that they are runaways. Guess what this new age has brought to us? These kids are lured to run away. They are told, oh, your parents don't understand, you get out of the house. Or if you don't do this, get out of the house, or whatever. We don't know what he all said to her because we can't see, and they haven't found yet the communications. And God help us, I hope that they do find out more details on it. The other part of this law that they want is that online predator awareness, an education mandate in Indiana schools to protect students from online grooming, digital manipulation, and coercive tactics. Again, you can scan the QR code to find out more information. You can go to change.org /Hailey's Law to sign the petition in Indiana. And again, I have been preaching this information out about learning about these online predators. My heart breaks that while I was experiencing bad health issues, which I said I'll tell you at the ending what has happened and what happened with me and what's been going on, that I missed that this little girl went missing. And even though we shared her info and that she was dead just over 24 hours, we need to stop waiting for a tragedy to happen for us to care about doing something. And this also doesn't just relate to girls. We have boys who are committing suicide because they get tied up with these predators too, who pretend they're girls. And then when they find out these men have these photos and stuff of them, and they are asked for money or other stuff, they turn around and choose to commit suicide. So do girls. If we don't stand up and protect our own kids, who is? This is the Buzbee family speaking to the State House, to the lawmakers about passing this bill to protect the kids. And right after this, I'm going to be showing you the outstanding, unbelievable numbers that have just hit the state of Indiana for cyber tips coming from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. Please stay tuned for that. Let's watch this really quick.
Good morning. My name is Buzbee, and this is my beautiful wife, Buzbee. Last month, my precious daughter, Hailey Buzbee, was lured away from our home, tragically murdered by an online predator. We are still in the agonizing process of finalizing her arrangements, living every parent's worst nightmare. With that in mind, I ask for your grace this morning, and I ask that you carry our message with you as you consider the social media amendment in Senate Bill 199. I also ask that you keep the families in mind as you work to support them. Think about that single parent, that single mom who gives everything every day for their children. She needs your help. Think about the grandparents who are raising their grandchildren. They need your help. Think about the everyday Hoosier families who are struggling. They need your help. And most importantly, think of our children, our beautiful Hoosier children. They deserve your leadership and the results that you are responsible for delivering. We are in the midst of the greatest crisis of our time. We are losing the fight to protect our children. The internet and social media are the devil's and predators' playgrounds, and it's on this front that we must fight. I understand that the amendment as it stands today may not be in its final form, but I beg of you, please do not let this opportunity slip away. To do so would be a disservice to the people you serve. There's no higher priority than the safety of our children in this state. Ronnie and I, our friends, our family, our community, and so many Hoosiers across the state and nation fought desperately to bring Hailey home safe. In the process, we witnessed firsthand the glaring gaps that must be addressed to better protect our children. This is a complex issue, we understand that, and one that requires a multifaceted solution. But from the perspective of a Hoosier family who lost our most precious gift from God, I assure you, the decisions that you are considering today have the power to save children's lives. The overwhelming support we have received from all corners of this state is not only a testament to our beautiful daughter, Hailey, but also a powerful cry for action. I have not encountered anything as urgent as this plea from Hoosier families, and we can no longer afford to ignore it. As a proud American, a combat veteran who led from the front, and a Hoosier who loves his state, I refuse to accept the defeat of losing more children due to inaction and misplaced priorities. I implore you to seize the moment to find the opportunity within every challenge and to take action to produce real, positive change for our families and for our children. Today, you have an extraordinary opportunity to lead, just not for Indiana, but for the entire nation. Please do not let this moment pass without action. Please help protect children from the negative impacts of social media. I know that you've heard this message loud and clear from your constituents over the past month. And now it's time to act. Let's fulfill our duties and let's make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you. You have our sincere condolences, Representative Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just gonna tell you, thank you so much for coming today. It makes everyone in here emotional what you're going through. God bless you all.
To think that this man and woman are out there right after Hailey is discovered murdered is horrible and heartbreaking. So getting this video together, I put together about what the State Bill 199 adding social media protections. And in this bill, the legislation is supposed to help with parental consent, children under 17 years old. They just moved that up. Originally, they had it at 16 years old. Under 17. Under 17 means Hailey Buzbee would not qualify for this. So I do want you to know that I have communicated with Buzbee and talked about the info in there. I know they went and they law makers moved that from 16 to 17. It would be heartbreaking if the rules that they are trying to do would not have included Hailey Buzbee for this law. So when I show you something that's passed, I'll let you know about that. They also want their age verifications so that they would verify the age of users, restricted features, parental consent. They also, though, had stuff about not including certain apps as making it part of it, including Snapchat, which we know is used by predators all the time. Right? It's crazy. So it talks about parental monitoring, all of that. And it talks about the inspiration that came from this. But here's the thing, enforcement. If signed into law, many of these provisions are projected to take effect on January 1st of 2027. Violations could result in lawsuits from Indiana Attorney General or parents with penalties of up to $1,000. Are you kidding me? Give me a freaking break. Sorry. So I have shown this chart for years, since the Delphi murders. And if you're new to this, and again, I'm fixing to tell you about the update that's happened with the law that happened today. And at the very end, when I show some stuff from Hailey's celebration of life, I'm also going to talk about what happened and why I've been gone. And what my future may entail here. But I want to talk about this. And these are tips from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children received in Indiana for Indiana internet crimes against children. And it has a breakdown that shows. So I'm going to point out that the first arrow shows in 2017 when the murders happened to Abby and Libby. The reason I show that is because regardless, Abby and Libby did have Libby did have communication. Her friends did have communications with somebody who has not been charged yet with Anthony Schatz. Keegan Kline was charged with Emily Ann 45, which was some of them, and his own Keegan account, but nobody has been charged for Anthony Schatz. I want to make that really clear. In 2017, the murders happened. Nobody knew about any information and stuff at all over the years that this all was going on. Nothing happened until 2020 when Keegan Kline was arrested in August 19th of 2020. I know because I've tracked pedophiles and CSAM arrests in the state of Indiana since that happened. And in 2020, it was not released until December 6th of 2020 that information for an account called Anthony Schatz and anybody communicating with Anthony Schatz was requested to contact the Indiana State Police. The next day, it was revealed, and that's the only reason that it was actually revealed, that because a news channel, Channel 8, had found this out already, and that's why they decided to release it themselves on the 6th. But on the 7th of January, they said, by the way, we have already arrested in 2020 a man named Keegan Kline who created the Anthony Schatz account. So not till December of 2020 did that happen. So when you look at the reports that happened and went on, that was when we started to increase massively in 2021. Richard Allen was arrested in 2022, and in 2022, we had a lot of people going down. The show I did on a bunch of arrests that happened in Delphi, Peru, Kokomo, and all throughout the state of people with CSAM, aggravating factor CSAM, all of that. Now I want you to look at 2025. The end of the year totaled 29,600 plus reports from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children cyber tips received by the Indiana Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force to investigate. I knew I surpassed something before that. This screen shows the per month breakdown of those. Now, it knocks off 2019. I keep these reports and stuff from each one and have all the way back there, but you saw the breakdown of those numbers. Look at the numbers of this. Yes, Derek Farmer, and had it linked to a gentleman in California. We had a recent one that went from Texas, and guess what he was using? The Yubu app, the Yellow app. The same thing they questioned Keegan Kline on because they had that come out April of 2022 before they got Richard Allen. They came out with one report that said, we know Anthony Schatz, an Anthony Schatz account was using the Yellow app, Yubu. And if you were in contact with him, please let us know. They had to go to France because it was an app created in France. I've done a million videos on that. If you want to know, make a comment under here. We'll share them. We'll put those out. This is one of the most important screens that I share. I sell on my community page, and I try to push this out as much as I can. If a child is being sexually abused, if a child is being sent CSAM, if a child is being blackmailed or extortion, same thing. images being taken. You see somebody sharing images, something inappropriate, sharing links on their Facebook page, sharing stuff on Twitter, on any account and stuff in there. If you find out that your child who is scared, they're worried they're going to get in trouble, and you're going to be mad because of the images that somebody has of them. A child can't think through how to deal with this. I want you all to think about the bully bullshit that's on social media now, including the YouTube people, which I say that being a YouTube person, but there are some people out there that are god dang ridiculous. And think how bully they treat adults. And adults get scared and go away. Now, I want you to think of you being a little kid. They have an image of this. They're going to send it to your friends. They're going to send it to your parents. You've got to do whatever you got to do, whether it's pay money or send them more images. Talk to your kids and let them know if something like this happens, or if one of your friends tell you something like this happens, or somebody's trying to talk to you sexually online. Or let them know people doing this fake stuff only friend people they know. You can go online and use the cybertipline.org and fill out the information of what is happening in as much detail. If you are a victim, you can report it anonymously to turn somebody in who sent you that shit, or you see sharing that shit. If you want the possibility that they need to contact you, maybe they have other questions, they'll sit here and have the opportunity for you to do it. Do you not feel comfortable going and filling out the report on cybertipline.org? Then call 1-800-THE-LOST. They will help you through it. They will also help you with trying to take it down. I want to share with you that after the death of Hailey Buzbee, the city of Fishers made a proclamation of going pink for Hailey month, and it's the whole month of February. It's almost over. Pink for Hailey, February of 2026. Now, not only did Fishers, Indiana, go pink by people turning their houses pink with light bulbs and lights and bows and ribbons and street underpasses and everything that they could do, which is that's a helicopter site over Fishers, Indiana, showing, look at the areas that are all pink for her. To the right is the Indianapolis Monument in downtown Indianapolis that went pink. Tons of cities all through the state of Indiana and towns went pink and shared it with the Buzbee family. And ribbons were gone everywhere. There is a site for sales to buy ribbons, to buy signs for your yard, shirts, everything. I'll post that in a community post rather than in the instruction or in the video description, because my description was so large. I needed more room. Different police stations had stuff where they turned their badges pink from all over the state of Indiana to support this family. And we do need justice for Hailey, but we also need laws to help, not just in Indiana, not just even in the United States, which we need it across the United States, but we need it everywhere to start protecting kids. Now, the update that I have for you is that hours just before I went on, there is an Indiana child protection bill that was inspired by Hailey that is heading to the governor's desk now. So the bill passed. This was House Bill 1303, which broadens the definition of a missing child to include high-risk missing persons, giving law enforcement greater discretion to act quickly in cases involving heightened safety concerns. The bill also extends the Silver Alert program to missing children. So that is a win, that there has been some change, right? There has been some change. but not enough. And this is a statement from Hailey Buzbee's dad, Bo Buzbee. God bless the Buzbee family for standing up during this difficult time to try to make changes. And Bo said, "We are incredibly thankful to our Indiana lawmakers for getting this done before the end of this legislation cycle. This is what leadership looks like, making children's safety a priority and finding opportunity within the obstacle. There is still more work ahead to ensure alerts are early, notifications are timely, applied consistently, and guided by continuously updates critical risk indicators. Our children deserve protections that reflect the realities they face today." Buzbee said his family will continue pushing for additional measures, including Hailey's Law, the Pink Alert, and modern predator awareness education. Amen, Bo Buzbee. Take that QR code, sign that petition if you are an Indiana Hoosier to make these laws, and know that they are going to try to reach out, because I think this is bigger than that. This is bigger than just Indiana. These predators are getting better and better in how to hide what they're doing. And we are losing the fight every time we lose a child. So I'm going to play this video. This is the celebration of her life. The ending part of that ceremony that was done at the I-Town Church in Fishers. And what I'm going to do is also just kind of share an update of why I've been gone, why this plays at the same time. And you'll kind of understand why I'm going to do those at the same time here as well. Because remember, this is somebody's little girl. And when I first saw it, I was in tears. And if you've watched me before, you know my biggest fight has been against online predators, pedophiles, protecting our kids, dangers of social media, talking to your kids, sharing the cybertipline.org line, the 1-800-LOST, trying to warn people of online gaming. And don't think because I didn't show an app that the app your kids are on is safe. It's not. If they are on the internet, they're exposed to it. Don't let them take their cell phones to their rooms. If you even have to give them a cell phone that has that, don't let them take the cell phones to their rooms at night. Talk to your kids about these predators. The one thing that also broke my heart in this was during this time I had shared back in November, I had another heart procedure. I had 4 in 2025. And I already had to have one in 2026. And I have been dealing with this for a very long time of blockages in my heart that happened because of scar tissue that builds up and over it. And I've got to a point where they went in they were going to unblock a 95% blockage, and within 7 weeks, I had developed another 90% blockage. I don't share this with you to feel sorry for me or to do anything for me at all, because God has blessed me with the time I have. I've been a type 1 diabetic since I was a kid. And I'm blessed with the long life I have. And I especially know that when I see Hailey Buzbee and her family and how young she is, and being blessed with time. And I was broken because I know it doesn't make sense, but that while I was taking care of this stuff, I wasn't out still trying to warn people about these online predators. And I felt pretty guilty of that while this happened. And I do have other shows I've been working on. One that means a great deal to me to get solved, that I've been talking with the detective, and that was going to be released. I probably have 5 that are going to go out. Some I'm not going to do live. Some I'm just going to release the info out in uploaded videos to you. As long as I have the strength to do that, which has been the biggest challenge for me. And I will share this. I will continue as long as I physically can to keep trying to protect our kids and help with cold cases and help with missing kids and do everything in my power that I can. I do believe God decides what's going to happen. And I can't be upset about any of that, because this poor girl didn't get to do everything she wanted. She only went to work at the kitchen on Main in Fortville to save money for college. She was a big sister. She was a great person. She is just as sweet as could be. So I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. You don't feel sorry for me. But I do ask you this. I really, really want to make a difference and know that I did. And I only can do that with your help. I can do that with your help when you share the information either on a community post or my videos. If you can help me share the info also by maybe encouraging people to come over and subscribe and watch the videos and comment or whatever. I really thought that of the years that I did this, I at least wanted to get up to, a few thousand people in here. I know some videos I've got that have had over 5,000 people watch it and stuff like that. But the information is important. And I'm still going to share the info, because I'm going to state this. I don't believe for 1 minute that we're done with this work and sharing that out there. And I think we can all make a difference. And as justice warriors, I think you can help me make that difference. I always wanted us to do an action, not just hear the story and not do anything. And Hailey Buzbee's story is an example of that. We've got to protect our kids, warn our kids, sign the waiver if you can, push for this act. And I guarantee you that this is probably going to go much larger than the state of Indiana. And if it does so, I hope that you, wherever you're located at, will help push that. I'll continue to work on this case and this guy and keep digging deeper. As soon as I get more information that confirms this stuff, I will share that out with you guys. So please watch for those videos. Please watch for the upcoming videos that I'll also be sending out. Some are Delphi related, one that I promised about social media and Keegan Klein. And Deborah Fulton's case, and more details and stuff with that. So, okay, I can't read your guys' comments because it make me cry. Anyway, I appreciate you guys being here. I think there's more to this guy. I am so worried that we possibly have more victims out there. Like I said, I definitely think he was part of a 764 group. You know, if he was, I'm going to find that shit. You know, I'm going to find it. And we got to protect our kids. I know some of you out there were those kids. And if it happened, and let me say, if you're maybe you're a young person, maybe you're in your 20s watching this, let me say this. If somebody did something to you, you deserve justice. And it also helps protect other victims who normally have tons of them and will continue to bully online until they're caught. So go to that cyber tip line, cybertipline.org, or call 1-800-THE-LOST and report it anonymously. Report it anonymously.
If you're waiting to place your rows, please grab a seat wherever you can, and our team will dismiss you row by row. Thank you so much.
This during the celebration of life, this was at the ending of the service. They made this because while these photos were being shown at the ending of the service after it was done, people took pink roses to put in baskets for the casket for Hailey. And if you're not touched by seeing her family and the photos of this young life who didn't get to graduate from high school, I will always be an advocate to help with anything I can for this Hailey Buzbee family and the Pink Alert and Hailey's Law. Look how just a beautiful young lady. Absolutely beautiful young lady. It just breaks my heart. I want to thank everybody who's here. Cryptex, it's nice to see you. Derek Farmer, Jinx, Mama Bear, Jinx and Mama Bear, my beautiful, lovely mods out there. I'll be Frank, thank you. Go subscribe to those channels as well. And again, Derek, to answer your question that you asked about the mask things, you know, a lot of people don't realize that the Indiana 2 incidents we had in Young America was at the time where Tony Klein was living with Keegan when he was little. And then we have then the Galveston one that happens, the one that happens that discovered Anthony Shots, an address given to him by a girl who was at the slumber party. It makes me wonder what the intentions was of that. Because if you guys didn't see, I made a video for that. The girls at the slumber party that night share that Libby's concern, like Anthony Shots was talking to her and one of her friends' sisters, younger sister, and the one told one sister he was from Lafayette, and the one told Libby she was from Delphi. Well, Libby was like, "Hey, I live in Delphi. I know everybody. You know, what do you mean you live in Delphi?" And here's the thing: these predators don't want to get caught, nor do their rings of people who are sharing that information with CSAM. So it puts a whole new meaning of what could have happened about going out there, because the person, whoever was communicating as Anthony Shots, doesn't want it blown that the other girls find out that that's a fake profile when he's talking to other girls, even if it's multiple people. So when you talk about those, nobody ever got arrested for those masked incidents at all. Sorry, I'm reading stuff at the same time, making sure I catch up on the questions and stuff you guys have. So when you look at that, you got to wonder, the very next week, a masked man shows up at the other girl's house, who's Anthony Shots, who was at that slumber party. Was that to be threatened? Was that a threat too? Did the person meet with Anthony, with her, try to go to meet Libby so Libby would keep her mouth shut and not tell people that it was a fake profile? I think he told her to meet her on the other side of the bridge. You know why? Because if she wasn't meeting anybody, she wouldn't have been suspicious of a guy crossing right behind them. She kept the phone down to her side to make sure, because she's probably like, "Oh, I'm going to catch what he looks like, because this is the guy he's trying to say he's Anthony Shots," not knowing what his intentions were. Why would they rush across when Abby was scared to do it and not supposed to do it? I think there's a lot there. I'm going to be doing a show on my top reasons, and with evidence that I think shows that that was set up, and why I think it was set up. Yep, he did. So that was showing a crowd of people, hundreds of people who showed up at the church, that was in line to drop the roses in front of Hailey Buzbee's casket. It was a beautiful, emotional service. That was just the ending part, like I said. But I thank you guys so much. I'm sorry I've been gone. Like I said, I'm going to do the best I can. And it takes a lot out of me to kind of set up the shows and stuff like that, because some things going on. But I work as hard as I can to get those out there. Please subscribe. Please hit the like button. Please share the video. And I will have more coming up. I will have more videos coming out. And you guys being here means a great deal to me. I appreciate it. Again, God bless the Buzbee family. We will never forget you, Hailey Buzbee. And let's try to work to continue to protect these kids. You guys mean a lot to me. Make sure I... Thank you, everybody. I really do appreciate all of you for being here. And thank you for making sure justice is served daily. Good night, everybody. Have a good one.